let's go ahead and bring in now Helen Taylor. She's the state director for the Nature Conservancy of Michigan. It's so great to be so great to have you with us. How are you today?
Great. Thanks for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
So I will have to tell you, my husband went golfing, so my dog is like moving around and doing things, but I'm trying to prevent her with her big tail. I'm like, it needs to be registered as a dangerous weapon because sometimes she comes in with her tail and it will knock like the light or the camera. So
We're all coping. We're all having to adjust.
So I apologize. And if Trixie barks, she's just saying hello to you. How are you doing, though? I think this is the first time we're having you on the show, at least with me. Great to have you with us.
Thank you. Thank you. I've got spring fever. The sun is out. That's a special day in Michigan, as we all know, with the weather. And when you work in conservation, it just means good days for field work and being outside.
So with that, tell us more about the organization.
Well, the Nature Conservancy, it was founded in 1951. We're actually global. We're the world's largest. So we have staff in all 50 states and 70 countries. And we're all working on the same thing, to protect the lands and waters on which all life depends, which is a very big statement. What that looks like in Michigan is we have 60 staff members. Around the world, we protected 125 million acres. In Michigan, it's almost up to 400,000. And what we're all working on is protecting and restoring our forests, our coasts, our wetlands, our inland waterways, as well as water quality. And we work in cities too. And everything we think about is in the context of the Great Lakes. And I guess the other thing I would add is we're a little bit different than many environmental organizations in that our feet are on the ground, our boots are in the water. We are actually doing the science and research to figure out practical solutions. And then we demonstrate those in real places with partners like farmers and foresters and agencies and universities. And then what we hope is that that can be handed off and people apply those practices in other places. But we also use that knowledge to craft policy and help decision makers and businesses with their sustainability practices as well. So I think the upshot is we're really trying to make sure that nature is healthy for both people and nature so that it can provide these things for us for future generations.
So with that, Helen, you have a huge mission. And when we're talking about globally as well, trying to take what's happening here in our backyard and applying it to not only the backyards of so many states across the US, but globally as well. So it's a big mission that you've taken on, but what has the past year been like? Because one thing that we have seen, people have been forced to get out and enjoy nature more. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yeah, and in fact, forced, I guess I would say, have been given this incredible opportunity to reconnect, because even in my neighborhood, I see people walking that could have been walking before, but now they've decided to walk around the neighborhood. We have 55,000 acres that we own, and about 29 preserves around the state. And the visitation level has just spiked. And we're thrilled about that. In fact, it's challenging us that we want to make sure that experience is great. And are we giving them the education in all these different types of habitats and places? So it's been I hope it's a new norm that people adopt that and getting that connection, because we're so digital oriented in today's world. So this is an exciting opportunity to not go back, but keep going forward in that way.
So with that, you just mentioned a digital. How do you take those platforms that are new, the digital platform, and try to connect it with the purity of Mother Nature to also educate the public to get them to care?
Right. Well, so there's some things that we've learned from this experience that we will not stop doing, because it's been a realization for us. There are people that we get to an age where you can't hike quite the same way you used to. So we've created virtual experiences at our preserves. There's videos you can go on our website. So if it's too far away or you're just not at the point that you can do a rigorous hike, you can experience that beauty by being immersed in it virtually. But the other thing is we have a lot more events on Zoom. And I don't know why we weren't doing that before, because the truth is people can attend from all over. So the attendance is huge. We have something we call conservation cafes, where for an hour you meet with a scientist, you learn about the work on the ground. But before, we were getting up to 100 people at those luncheons, but now we can have hundreds because they can all, click in and experience it. So that's a great realization for us.
And something that will carry over as well. But when we're talking about appreciating our backyards in Michigan, I really feel like people are starting to understand the beauty that is in the backyard. Because before, when we were comfortable traveling, yeah, people always went up north, right?
Right.
But really, we went a spring break. We went to Florida. We went to Mexico. We went to Europe. Well, we couldn't do that any longer. We had to explore what was here. And also, we know that even coming out of the pandemic, people still are not comfortable traveling. So, what are the big areas that you suggest they go and really appreciate what Michigan has to offer?
Right. Well, that's like trying to choose your favorite child, right? So that's the beauty of doing this work in Michigan. I feel like the luckiest person on earth, because Michigan has so much diversity of habitat, and coastlines are also different. So if you're interested in the incredible dune, the largest freshwater dune system in the world, you go to the west side of the state, up and down for 500 miles, you've got incredible beauty. I have a great love of the Upper Peninsula. I am always surprised at how many people from Michigan have never crossed that bridge or gone past the bridge to experience it. So some of my favorite places are the Lachino Islands over to the east, as well as the Keweenaw Peninsula. I'm going to offend people by not mentioning their area, I know, but things like Pictured Rocks and Tequanimon Falls, I mean, you just have to go. And now is a good time. There's a little bit of time you want to skip because the mosquitoes can be kind of intense and the black flies. So after 4th of July, then there's so much to experience up there. So, but then there's an area of the state in the northeastern lower part of the mitten near Alpena, that whole area, people don't know as well. And that is an extraordinary shoreline. So I could go on, but it's hard to choose.
And sometimes we should let people know too, these things are not far away.
No.
It could be an hour and a half drive. And you know what? We're not driving our daily commute any longer. That commute to Detroit every day used to drive me crazy. I shifted my work hours so I didn't have to sit in traffic for an hour and a half for a 32-mile commute. And
someone once recently shared that every Michigander is within 6 miles of a natural body of water. Now, how lucky are we? That's incredible. So the inland lakes and rivers, you don't have to go to the big shoreline to experience incredible beauty.
So I know you don't have a crystal ball, but I also kind of look at this time of, so many kids have been introduced to nature throughout this time, or maybe, they could have learned about it in class, but now they were stuck at home. So their parents were like, let's go outside, explore nature. And do you think that could spark the next generation of conservationists here, not just in the state of Michigan, but globally?
Well, let's hope so. And I want to deepen what we hope happens in that connection for the next generation, because it's not just about beautiful, pristine places far away. It's really about deepening our understanding of what nature provides for us and how we depend on nature. So everything from, it's extraordinary how little people know about where their food comes from, and how when we raise our food and what we eat has an impact on water quality and soil health. And our farmers are key to that. So supporting our farmers and understanding what they need to improve their practices, but also improve their bottom line so they can feed us. It's the same with understanding where the table that you eat on comes from. The timber industry is an incredibly important part of our economy. So, and the same with water. Where does water come from? It's amazing how many children just think it comes out of a tap, but they don't know where it comes from before that, and how our use of land has an impact on our water quality. So we all have a role and a responsibility for how we use nature for those food and water. So my wish, and I see it happening with the way my own children and other students are learning about those connections, that we're going to be in great hands, but we need to tighten the understanding of cause and effect and how nature, how we use it so that it can actually continue to thrive and support us as a species, because nature will go on with or without us. If we want to exist, we need to be in balance.
Helen Taylor with us here on the MegaCast. She's the state director for the Nature Conservancy Michigan. We know your organization is also a nonprofit. How can people find out more and support the work that you're doing as well?
Well, we would love that. Our website is nature.org, and that will take you to the global organization. And then you'll also, if you do /Michigan, you will find the work that's going on in any state, anywhere you want. And as for support, part of it is the spreading the word of the importance of conservation. Of course, as a nonprofit, we depend on the financial generosity of people, and becoming a member is a wonderful thing. But actually taking action in your own life to get to understanding the resources and visiting them, all the things you were asking about. To me, Michiganders live here because they understand and appreciate the beauty of the lands and waters. And so we all have to find our path to contributing to protecting it.
So with that, Helen, too, we should remind people donations are always welcome. You know
Absolutely.
what? We're not driving to work, so you're not going through Starbucks like you used to. So take that $5 that you would spend on your Starbucks and donate it to organizations such as yours.
Right. Well, thank you for saying that. I won't argue with that comment.
Helen, we so appreciate your time.
Great. Thanks for having me, Ronnie.